Porta portese. If it once gleamed, if it ticked, if it buzzed, if it oiled eternal youth, if it whispered on an old tape with the sexual lure of infinite cash, if it said, I am your private castle and you are a queen, if it lit 1,000 bulbs, if it shaved 1,000 hairs, if it declared God loves you, if it promised to cure hair lip, eczema, scabies, rage, if it clipped hangnails, if it delivered proverbs, if it hugged the ass it's laid out on a collapsible table or a mat on asphalt, money will change hands. Money will change us all. Change gypsies, professors, Nigerian whores, limping children, drugged babies, iPodded teens, Somali refugees, artists in drag, illegal Albanians, cruising Poles. We said, one world. We said, isn't my money good enough for you? Switch blade, switch banks. The Cloaca Maxima accepts all currencies. The Tiber leaks yellow between its legs, venereal, venerable, duty-free, luxurious, silken, rippling, classical waves, sold and soldered, solved, reflected here. I love you clapping for poems, but may I ask you to save any claps you have till the end, because it gets me distracted. Thank you for your appreciation. Rosh Hashanah. It wasn't competition, your unwrapping your father's ram's horn from its velvet case and carrying it out to the walkway as wind drove scalloping crests up the East River, and rain slammed high-rise windows and drove pools scudding along the pavement. It wasn't only your breath that filled your lungs and pressed out that floating wail as cars poured in liquefied pearl and ruby light along FDR Drive. A breath of grandfathers and fathers' fathers' fathers rushed through you and stuttered in bursts over ragged waves, and night licked at you, but still you blew. To practice for tomorrow means letting the past surge through. You closed your eyes. You pressed your lips against the twisted horn. Poland and Russia went keening under the Queensboro Bridge in 3 short blasts, then one long cataract summoning souls. Your hair shone like seaweed, and your glasses streamed. The book of life would open. It would be a new year. We tasted its newness. We were drenched, dark, alone, and small. Here's another glimpse. This poem's called 42nd Street. I lived in New York City in 2008, 2009, and I worked every day at the New York Public Library, and I remember when all the banks started failing? That was fun, wasn't it? 42nd Street. The sidewalk gapes open down dark basement stairs. You can imagine falling there among kegs and cardboard cartons, spider webs and planks. Brokers and the broken pass on the street. Acacia leaves swirl up like a school of golden flying fish. Then we see them mashed like porridge in the gutter. In the back room of the library, old wooden card catalogs tilt every which way, their tongues lolling out. An earthquake-stricken city, emptied of ideas, as the wooden telephone booth in the marble hall waits for phantoms to ring with news of the other world. Outside, dropped boards clatter to the pavement. A truck clanks over a pothole. Its hydraulic brake squawks release. Cars shush by. East into morning, 42nd Street is a blinding nickel-plated strip. Water hissed and gurgled all night in the bedroom wall. I made my prayer to Nuestra Señora de la Soledad and dropped Shakti's paperback spiritual guide to self-transformation in the trash with onion peels, melon rinds, tea bags, fish bones, and holiday photos of impeccable children. Hospital chair. I carry a whistle in my pocket to guard against assault. At the end of the notebook, under politics, only a blank, through which my mother walks, almost blind, carrying ginger snaps, apples, and stuffed bears for my children. Her smile, girlish, vulnerable, the rage sublimed away. The pain as well, from when I hurried her in the metro and she fell and gashed her leg to the bone, or when her sister died and she howled like a coyote with its paw in a trap, soul-shattering, inhuman. Whose rage? My own, I think, though it was she who cursed the English girl as she kneeled and wept, scrubbing the tub. She who excommunicated guests from the dinner table. She, the child huddling with her sister under a snowdrift, caught by a blizzard on their way home from the country school. The child abandoned in a French convent where she ate lard and nearly died of whooping cough. And months after her death, she appeared to me in a dream, no longer wheezing from emphysema, no longer blind, striding in her silk turquoise dress across a distant lawn, a lawn that kept drifting backward, to tell me that night at the hospital as I half slept in a cramped chair by my young child's bed that Catherine would not die. Let's see. Sorry, getting my pages mixed up. Also, wild pansies. Woman sleeping in the bed alone, the man has left in early morning. What is that space between her arms? Crumpled sheet, the river wrinkled, sliding away. Antelope skull on the bookshelf holds vanished meadows, light and air. Wind huffs down the chimney, seethes at roof tiles, buffets the shutters, growls. The book on the table, closed. Inside its covers, drawings writhe. Also, wild pansies, with butter gold broom, small reptilian orchids, forget-me-nots, asters, and whole slopes starred white with narcissus in the bouldery mountain pastures of the Cevennes. Dry skin peels from foot soles, small parchment sheets upon which hard walking has written its diary. His shirts hang in the closet, sleeves experienced, softened from reaching to type, write, clasp, count money, play the piano, peel grapefruits, and cut the heads off porgies with a single slice up the gizzard and a yank. Fish eyes, glossy black in the market, as if still peering through currents fathoms deep, boiled, opaque white as little cue balls. The desiccated daisy, stunted and clipped in its small pot, still presses out embryonic, feather-fingered leaves in the tiny crotches of its last green stems. And I'll conclude with a poem that I won't read you the whole thing, don't worry. It's a poem about Frederick Law Olmsted and the making of Central Park, but it's also about the fact that Central Park, as you may know, being New Yorkers, was built on the site of slaughterhouses, and it was a bog full of old pig's blood and stinking offal and carcass remnants. And Olmsted left the work on the park in 1862 to go head the sanitary commission for this in the Civil War and gather the bodies and the wounded men off the battlefields of the Civil War. So the whole poem is about slaughter and land. I'll read the first part and then a little bit of the last part. The first part is called Shadows, and the whole poem is called Earthworks. So think Central Park. Shadows. The way of life is wonderful. It is by abandonment. Emerson. Against icy morning light, the sycamores flex biceps, shrug shoulders, flaunt broad arms, serpent mottled. Hurrah, they shout, or help, or pour down more sun. Disease bunches up in bowls under the skin and cranks the elbows. Malady, we were taught, is picturesque. Hollow trunk, dead arm, drooping bough, wrote Mr. Gilpin, splendid remnants of decaying grandeur, and other mischiefs incident to trees. They fling their shadows wide as archaic pitchforks prong frozen soil to dislodge 5 million ghostly cubic yards of stone, earth, topsoil, hauled to make a park, the central park, the central idea that all ward healers, dandies, urchins, freed slaves, desperados, gents and ladies, the halt, the swift, the lame, might come, might be drawn forth in courtesy, might harmonize. Democracy is space in which we flow. The shadows strike back to the house in Hartford, curtains drawn in daylight around the mother sunk in gloom. Sunken quilts, no longer breathing in the laudanum gloom, and the small boy, hardly breathing by the bed. Roots boil up in dragon coils from rock-hard earth, elm, Norway maple, pin oak, honey locust, hickory, clutch, and bunch secrets wrenched from below, where the mother lies in metamorphic dark. Bedrock, mica schist at the core, littered above with clay and gravel, gouged by glacier, shot with granite dikes where magma probed and cooled. No account kept of expenses from February 24 to March 12th, wrote Father, the merchant. Tuesday, February 28th, at 5:30 p.m., my dear wife died. And next April, married, $10. The shadows press child after child into the shale pages of the Book of Earth. Charlotte, measles, aged 4. Owen, aged 2. Ada, age 6, bilious colic. Her moans and cries have been heartrending, writes young Fred. Anthologist of shadows. The great principle of art, breadth of light and shadows, counsels Sir Uvedale Price, for whom the eye should not be stopped and harassed by little disunited, discordant parts, nor is democracy little discordant parts. Rhododendron, azalea, rhodora, sweet gum, spicebush, green ash, Siberian elm. The essence, says Price, is connection. Olmsted and Vaux loop tableland and meadow, hill, hollow, rock, reservoir, lake and brook, east, west, north, south, above, below, in paths, roads, drives, and bridges cresting. Build in solidest granite that the span may loft across the death of Brother John, ghostwriter, confidant, comrade, closest soul, choked by tuberculosis far in southern France. Dear, dear Fred, it appears we are not to see one another anymore. I am wild with opium. I cannot comprehend this suddenness, but I see it. I have no breath. Don't let Mary suffer while you are alive. Price. Twilight connects what was before scattered. It fills up staring, meager vacancies. It destroys edginess, and by shadow as well as light to water, it increases its brilliance and softness. Evening dissolves opal and mother of pearl across the reservoir, silences commissioners, bosses, office seekers, first citizens, bankers, journalists. Small waves lisp and suck at the rim of blue ice. The widgeon tucks an emerald cheek under his wing and drifts toward sleep as shade encumbers the elms. Thank you.